Can we check the parking lot?
I think they would have come in if they were in the parking lot. Here, I'll do one quick scan. If I don't see anybody, we'll go ahead and start. And we'll just ask somebody to...
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So sure. I don't see anybody out there, so we'll go ahead and get started.
Well, I will volunteer for the purposes of being the secretary tonight.
Okay.
That's okay with everybody.
Does anyone want to volunteer to be the chair?
You did such a great job last time. I'm a little new.
Brianna, will you walk me through it?
Of course, yes. And then if they come in, all you have to do is just recognize that they're now seated. They're allowed to come up to the board. Just recognize, I just want to take a moment to recognize that Jim Welch has now joined the meeting, and that has to be recorded in the minutes also. So, all right.
Thank you. Okay, so we will now open the planning and zoning meeting for January 14th at time 6:32.
Perfect.
Roll call?
Yes, roll call, please.
Roll call.
Troy Griggs. Brian Griffin.
And,
Acting secretary.
and Valerie Suisse,
Okay.
acting president.
And just for the record, that Marcus Fuentes and Jim Welch are not in attendance at this moment. So
Acknowledge. Should we move straight into citizens' comments?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, do I open that up?
Yes, please. You provided time to open citizens' comments.
Okay, we will now open citizen comments at time 6:32.
Mhm.
Are there any citizens here that would like to make any citizens' comments? Okay, we will now close citizens' comments at 6:33. Okay, do I do the same format for approval of minutes as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll move on to approval of minutes for December 3rd, 2025. Does anybody have any issues and or concerns with the minutes?
I will submit that there were some grammatical errors that needed to be corrected. If you want to go through your copy, it would be, I think, in section 5 and first line, there was the word on. I believe first line towards the end to be first on the item, that on should be struck. Also, third line, where it says discussion of this matter due to prevent, strike the word do. And then down on the 8th line, there should be an apostrophe added to the S in that paragraph. And let's see, I think there was one other one in third paragraph, first line, the word a should be struck. Other than that, I had no other changes.
Any additional changes? Okay, and if it's okay with y'all, if y'all want to approve the minutes and just state with the changes that Brian proposed.
Like the actual every single change that he just
No,
read off?
you can just
Okay.
say as presented. Or,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay, we will approve the minutes for December 3rd, 2025, based off the recommended changes that were provided by the board.
Okay, and I need a first and a second for that.
I'm sorry.
A first and a second, please.
Oh, I will second it? Or you need a motion, Anna?
Yeah, I need a motion in a second because I think you kind of read it out, but I don't think she motioned.
I motion that we accept the minutes as amended.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion passed.
Great.
Okay. So now we will go to discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We will, I don't want to use the word table, but we could move,
Yeah, I would
push the agenda item to the next.
if you just want to read it and just say, as per the recommendation of staff, we will take no action on item A.
Okay.
Yes.
As per recommendation of staff for item A, 5A, nominations and election of chairman and secretary, we will push that to another time.
Yes. Okay. No action.
No action.
Okay. And you don't have to vote on an action.
Okay. All right, move into item 5B, discussion and possible action on Flat Creek Collector final plat.
Yep. Okay. And I'll go ahead and I'll open this. What I kind of did is, since some people aren't familiar with the process of what Flat Creek has already gone through, we're going to do just a quick timeline and go back in time a little bit, go through some steps they've already taken and how they've gotten here. Okay. So August 9th, there was a multi-party agreement that the city council agreed to design the city water system improvements necessary to serve Flat Creek. So as you can see, this all started way back in August of 22. August 22 through 24, the development agreement was approved by city council. So that's when they established what requirements were going to be for that subdivision, the annexation of them coming into the city, the maintenance agreements that were going to have to be provided. All of those things were established in that development agreement, and that was approved by city council on, I believe, August, I don't know why it says 22nd through 24th, but of 2023. Late 2023, the planned unit development, so the PUD approval, was done through city council. So that is where they they present to planning and zoning and city council kind of the layout of what that subdivision is going to look like. So where the residential is going to go, where the commercial is going to go, if there's going to be any collector roads, setbacks, open space, all of those things are encompassed in the PUD plan, and that is a legally binding document. So those things have already been approved through city council, and that was in late 2023. August 2024, the final plat was prepared by Flat Creek and submitted into our department by KCI Technologies. Lance is here. If y'all have any questions for him throughout this process, he's a wealth of knowledge. And so we started our review of the plat, the plans, the drainage, floodplain, all of that, every civil aspect of that subdivision is when we started that process. September 20th, 2024, there was a letter of map revision submitted to FEMA. We don't really approve those. That goes through FEMA, but we are aware of what, and that's typically because they need to change the floodplain a little based off where the water is actually flowing, and they're allowed to do that through FEMA. And then 2025, February 28, 2025, Kafri and Associates, who is our city engineer who reviews our plats and plans, did approve the plats and plans, and therefore it is allowed to start that whole, it kicks off that process. That's the kind of the final stamp, except for what we are doing tonight. And then late 2025 is when they submitted for final plat approval, and so that's why y'all are seeing it here today. Okay, cool. So here's the approved flood plan. I know it's really tiny, it's kind of hard to reach, but this is just, so what was submitted to the city. An approved flood plan is typically only a one-page document. People think it's really big, and it can be elaborate, but typically it's just a one-page document. Like I said, it establishes where the floodplain is going to be at, where the open space is going to be at, the amenity centers, how many lots there are going to be approximately, because once you get into engineering and constraints with the land, then some things change a little bit here and there. And just where the zoning is going to be for that property. So this is just the approved flood plan. Like I said, that was done quite some time ago. And this is just a site plan that was included in the development agreement, which was also approved to show how this property was going to be laid out. Because, you know, you don't want to go in blind not knowing how many lots they thought on average were going to be a part of each unit. And again, that open space, amenity center, the collector roads, all of that good stuff. All right, so now we're going to get into the actual meat of what y'all are reviewing tonight. So this is going to be Flat Creek Collector Final Plat. All right, yeah, that's that. Okay, so the person here that's representing them is KCI Technologies, and this is Lance. The property owner is KF Flat Creek. This collector road is approximately 5.007 acres. I think y'all kind of know where it's at, but it's just to the east of Alsatian Oaks. So that next property over is where their property starts. But we'll see a location map here in a minute. And the current zoning, there's no zoning for this because it is strictly just infrastructure. And then, of course, the type of plat that's being submitted is the final plat. This right here is just a location. Like I said, it butts up right to Alsatian Oaks. You can see where all their lots are already on the ground. And the one that we're looking at tonight is the one outlined in blue. But actually, this plat is not even located within that blue because it's what's connecting the blue to Highway 90. So it's in between those two parcels. And then this is just to show the zoning for that subdivision, which is single family dwelling. There is no commercial, there's no multifamily, no industrial. So it is strictly just going to be residential back there for their part. Now that little square up front, pretty sure that's gonna be commercial, but they don't own it. They're not developing that, and that's not even annexed into our city limits. So. All right, so like I said, I know it's kind of tiny, but this is the final plat that, like I said before, was reviewed and approved by the city engineer, city staff, all of that good stuff. And it just shows where the connection is going to be made at Highway 90. TxDOT has reviewed these plans front and back, side to side. They've provided multiple comments. They've had a lot of input. Same thing with the floodplain. FEMA's also, because of that LOMAR, they also got to have their stab at it too and look at everything that was going to be established for that property. So there's been multiple entities that have looked at this. And I think the county may have even, since that one portion is not in our city limits and it actually is going through a county property, I believe the county also had a little bit of input all into that roadway as well. So, and just because plats are big and long and there's a lot of information on it, this one is separated into two different ones, or two different pages. And then we'll just kind of go through, for final platting, there are certain requirements, of course. And so one requirement is open space, but because this is not a residential subdivision, we only require open space for residential and commercial, but commercial is very minimal. This doesn't fall into any of those, so parkland dedication was not required for this specific plat. Like I said, it's just infrastructure. Financial guarantees, because there's still build out that has to be completed for this plat, they had to submit a financial guarantee, a performance bond for this particular property, and for each and every unit. So you'll see this kind of paper, it looks the same for every single one, except for it's a different amount and it's for a different part of the project. So just want to show that was in your packet. But if we have questions, like I said, Lance is here. The maintenance agreement / bond. So the maintenance agreement allows the city to adjust the assessment if maintenance reserves are insufficient. So what typically, maybe there's some money they put into like an account where the city can pull from if there's maintenance needed for that specific project. But because the way the development agreement worked out, legal counsel reviewed what was already submitted based off the development agreement and the maintenance agreement that they submitted. And there was actually more strength for the city in those two documents than a performance bond could ever take care of. So they really recommended us go this way. And so legal has reviewed all of those documents that y'all provided, maintenance, HOA, financial, all of that stuff. Legal also had their review of it and they approved all of those as well. This is just so that it's a part of the PUD plan final platting requirements. It's just to show that this is it was in your packet online. I didn't print it out because it's like 400 pages. So if y'all want to, feel free to go back and read through it, some light reading. But I just want to show that it was in your packet. So this was also satisfied that requirement per the subdivision ordinance. Same thing as here. Another requirement is a community association budget. That was also another about 15 pages. It was not just this one, but just to show that they did include that in their packet. And then just some general information is that this is just public infrastructure. It's not commercial or residential. It's about 5.007 acres. There are 0 lots. Setbacks are not applicable for this. There is no variances requested, and everything is in accordance with the development agreement and the plan unit agreement, plan unit development. And the city engineer has reviewed and approved the final plat and plans. And now it's with y'all.
Okay.
Yeah.
One question on that, Brianna. I think there was one document there where our inspector or the person that reviewed it had a problem with I guess it was at the end of the drainage area where they were supposed to put a tow beam or something down.
Yes.
Did that all get taken care of?
That did all get taken care of.
Okay.
He did, like, if you read the paragraph, it was approved, but just make sure you did that. And those things were incorporated. Just sometimes we do approve with conditions just to get the project started. So yes, sir.
So are we in the discussion phase
Yes,
now?
ma'am.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
sorry.
no,
Yes.
you're fine.
Open discussion, questions, whatever y'all have. Yeah. And I'll do my best to answer, but what I don't know, I'll shoot to Lance.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is the roadway designed to support current traffic only or future traffic?
Hi, I'm Lance
Lance, what's
Yes.
your last name?
Elling from KCI, Elling. And so when this project was first getting started, we did a traffic impact analysis, and we analyzed US 90 and all the connecting roads within the subdivision to make sure that it's going to be able to handle our traffic and not have any backups and stuff like that. So yeah, all the roads for our subdivision have been designed for ultimate demand.
Okay. And I guess, I know, Brianna, you had mentioned everybody's kind of already reviewed the plan and everything. Does that also include emergency services, fire department, police department, all of that as well? Or is that not a requirement at this stage?
We don't require that for the city. We typically do run through ESD to make sure they don't give us like a full review. They kind of look through it. We'll ask them, like, if we're unsure if a subdivision, like, hey, would this be sufficient for the egress? We'll run that by them, but they don't give a lot of input.
Okay.
So yeah, but they do. I'm fairly certain they know about.
So there's touch points with them at least for awareness,
Yes.
if anything?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. And then are there any impacts right now that you know of that would potentially impact Alsatian Oaks, neighboring adjacent drainage or anything like that that's going to cause issues?
So we actually coordinated with Alsatian Oaks
Okay.
to let them know what we are draining onto them, and it was actually with Jim. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, we did coordinate with them to let them know what we're sending, like any water we are pushing that way. It's naturally going that way, but there is a little increase from our site, but we let them know that, and they said they're all good on their side.
Okay, so they assume the risk. That
Correct.
They're aware.
And then
Okay.
the floodplain that we analyzed, we made sure there was no downstream effects that were going to affect anyone downstream. And we don't have any increase to the floodplain from our development because we have detention ponds that hold the water back before it goes off our site.
Okay.
That was going to be my next question. That there's a lot of flooding downstream from there.
Those are all the questions I have. Gentlemen, do you have any?
Yeah, in looking at I guess one of the diagrams on the plat, basically the water drainage is going to be the streets. Is that how that's designed, to collect in the streets and then back out to the collector on
Correct.
90?
So the the water won't go out onto US 90. We have inlets along that street that then dump it off into that. You've probably seen that big channel that's over there. Yeah, we dump it off into that channel, and then the water doesn't get out onto US 90 essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. So we keep it contained.
But basically within the neighborhood, though, as far as stormwater
Yes.
removal, it's the streets.
Streets to drains to the floodplain essentially. Yes, sir.
And that detention pond is designed to catch 1 inch of rain over all the impervious.
Yeah, it's designed to release our site at existing conditions, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, to make sure we don't
Okay.
have any impact. So
And then how does I know it's probably on the diagram. So how does the roadway connect to the existing transportation network? What's the design for that? To Highway 90 at least. Is it going to be another shoulder and then you're turning? Is it going to be a stoplight? Like, do we know any of that right now?
I don't know. He might know,
Okay.
but we don't get that information from TxDOT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so we coordinated with TxDOT, and there's going to be a long deceleration lane to turn into our site.
Okay.
And in the future, I think they're planning for a stoplight there at that intersection as well. But that's whenever the rest of Black Creek gets built out and stuff
Okay.
like that. Yes.
So will you be able to turn left out of this subdivision onto 90, or you're going to have to?
You're going to have to go right, and then we're creating a good
Sure.
with Alsatian Oaks, the same one that Alsatian Oaks is kind of utilized is what we're going to.
Okay.
Yes. And that's all been coordinated with TxDOT and the TIA and everything.
Okay. Gentlemen, you have any other further questions?
The only other questions I had is more of a, like I said, more educationally based. And Lance, it won't be towards you. if Brianna can maybe fill us in. As far as the homeowners association and the assessments that they'll be collecting, as I understand from the documentation, at any one time, obviously they can use those funds for special projects within their neighborhood.
Yes, it's all
Okay.
up to the homeowners association unless I think the city requests a project based off the maintenance agreement.
My question really has to do with what kind of coordination will occur between the city and the association or the management company that takes care of that association should there be an emergency situation where something needs to be fixed, like ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
The documents say, yes, the city can and will step in to take care of, say, a roadway replacement.
Yeah.
Is there a process in place? I know it says that it would have to go to state court if there were any kind of litigation as to whether or not the money should come back to the city or not.
Mm-hmm.
Has that already been talked about through legal? And I assume in state law there's something that would help the city.
The only thing I can say of assurance is that our legal team reviewed that document to make sure it was the best document for the city. What exactly that means and how that plays out, I couldn't answer that for you.
Okay.
I'm very sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was throwing it out there because I figured maybe the city
I'm
manager
sure-
or somebody else would.
Because if it's public infrastructure, that means the city is assuming that like the city is taking on that infrastructure.
Okay.
So that means that the city would be probably our guys would be out there repairing it, and we go back to that maintenance association to recollect those fees for it. But that's just all an assumption. I don't know exactly how that process works.
Taxes.
Is it through
So
taxes?
you're only collecting taxes from the Flat Creek development.
Oh,
And
okay.
that will help fund the street repairs or drain
Well, that's-
repairs if that ever has
yeah.
to occur.
I assume, obviously, we will have the tax income from that, which would be in the city coffers already.
Yeah. I think
And they're just choosing to pay the extra assessment that they have to pay every year to live there.
yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't want the city to become in a lurch where, we're funding something that was out of the budget in an emergency situation and then not be able to
Yeah.
recoup the funds from the association.
And I also think it's when that takes place, because if it's in that 2-year warranty period, then that means I think that comes straight from the HOA or those funds or those reserves. But anything outside of that 2 year is exactly what Lance is. That's why you collect taxes and you get those monies in to make those repairs in the future.
Yeah, we'll provide a maintenance fund, and then if anything happens within those 2 years,
Yeah.
it's either our developer is going to repair it, and if he somehow is like, no, I'm not repairing it, then you'll have a maintenance fund that has the money in it for you all
Yeah.
to do the repairs,
Hmm.
essentially. So
Okay.
it's a secret.
Is there any further discussion?
Not for me.
Okay, well, I will entertain a motion for agenda item 5 Bravo, discussion and possible action on Flat Creek Collector, final plat. Do I hear a motion on the floor?
I so motion that we accept the plat as presented.
I second motion.
And then all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All
nays?
all
Any nays?
opposed?
All nays?
Okay, motion passes.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to next agenda item, 5 Charlie, discussion and possible action on Flat Creek Unit 1, final plat.
Okay, and I'll get this off. I'm not going to go through all of that other stuff I went through first, but some of the information is still kind of the same because it's all the same property. So this is the Unit 1. It's approximately 20.091 acres. Like I said, it's in the same location. This one is for residential lots, so the current zoning for that one is single-family dwelling RA. And then this is a final plat as well. Like I said before, this is just the location, and this is the zoning, which shows that it is in fact zoned for single family. It already went through that process to be zoned for that, and that's what it's intended for. This is just a copy of the plat. I'll get into how many lots and stuff there are in just a second. But as you can see, it's a typical subdivision. One thing I do want to, okay, that's on the other part. Okay, not this one. So there's going to be, I believe, 65 units in this first plat that you're going to see. And of course, like I said before, because these plats have a lot of information and the curve radiuses and everything, it's broken up into 2 separate pages. Here's just like I said, we're going to go through all the requirements that are associated with the final plat. The first one being open space. So the land use and density table, that is a part of the approved PUD. So the PUD is what determines how much open space is required for that property in total. The tricky thing about it is that sometimes as you're going through units, you realize, okay, we really don't need 2 acres of open space here, but we're going unit 4 because we know we want to put a big park over there, and that's why sometimes you see the little parks and things like that in subdivisions. So sometimes it doesn't always match exactly with the PUD, but that's okay. In the end, when everything's tallied up and that whole property is built out, let's just say for some reason they didn't put any open space, which is not the case here, without throughout that property, then that last big piece has to be nothing but open space, and make sure it accounts for the open space that's required per that PUD. So it's not per unit, it's actually as an overall scheme of things. But as you can see in this table, for unit 1, 0.85 acres was determined to be necessary to establish that 20% required by the PUD. But the open space that they actually have for this unit is 1.341 acres. So like I said, it's a little bit more. Typically that's just with walkways, things like that, landscaping, all that good stuff. And so they did meet that open space requirement, even though, like I said, sometimes they won't always do that. And then the water rights letter. So of course, I'm sure as y'all have heard, or if y'all don't know by now, anybody who comes into the city and files a plat with us, a major plat, they have to bring their own water rights. That's a requirement. We're in drought. We don't have enough water rights to support any additional development. So we need them to convey those to us. And so right now, they're only required to give us a letter that states that by the time that this plat is going to be recorded at the county, they have to have the water rights. If they don't, then we don't go record it with them. And so for the residential subdivision for 65 lots, it's 0.612 acre feet per lot. And so this is the letter on the left-hand side just shows that they did it for both unit 1 and 2, but it does total to what is required per our subdivision ordinance, which is 138 lots. So they are, and I talked to the developer for this yesterday. He's already having Buck Benson. I don't know if y'all have heard of him, but he's like a water rights person around here, and they're like this close to transferring them over to the city. So they'll probably have it done way before that. So they may have it done before it goes to city council. So this is the same financial guarantee. Like I said, there's still some work that needs to be done out there. So this is a financial guarantee that if it doesn't get finished, the city can go pull that money and make sure it gets taken care of. Y'all saw that in the first one. It's the same maintenance agreement and bond that we just spoke about. So if y'all have any additional questions, feel free to ask me. But I'm just going to kind of fly through these a little bit because it's just a little bit redundant. Same community association legal documents, same community association budget. This all goes to one same subdivision, so it's just redundant. And some general information. So this will be single family residential. It is about 20 acres. There's 65 lots in this first unit. The setbacks were based off of the approved PUD and the development agreement. And those setbacks are the front is 20 feet on a regular lot and 15 feet on an irregularly shaped lot. The side setback is 5 foot and the rear setback is 20 feet. There was no variances requested. This is in accordance with the development agreement and the PUD, and the city engineer has reviewed and approved the final plat and plans for this one as well. Okay, so I'll take questions now.
Okay.
I'll go back to just so I can see.
Well, will the 65 houses be built in a phased approach or all at once?
No, it'll. I think they usually build like 3 or 4 a month. It's depending on sales. So they're gonna have a bunch of sales or like for sale signs, and then someone's out there, I want this lot, and then they're gonna go and put up what kind of house they want out there, kind of deal. Because I think they're gonna be more high scale houses, and yeah, they're gonna have different options of what they want to put on the lot and stuff like that. So it won't be all bulk built. Essentially, yeah, it'll be built over probably a year.
Okay.
It's kind of like how Alsatian Oaks is doing, how they did it. As you saw a few houses go up, because I believe even with don't quote me on this, but I think Flat Creek is going to have multiple builders also. So just like Alsatian Oaks did, some are Perry Homes, some are Highland, there was another builder now I can't remember, of course. But there's going to be a multitude, and they just come in, and I know from the permitting side, they'll put 5 or 6 permits in, and then we don't hear anything for a while. And then they put 5 or 6 permits in, and then we don't hear anything for a while. So it's just like they're like, okay, we're going to buy those 6, and then we're going to take down those 6, and then we'll see what happens. And then we'll come and get more if it's doing good.
So basically, we're at the point where they're asking permission to start building. Is
Yes.
that what we're doing for the most part?
That's correct.
You haven't started to build at all.
No, yeah, we need final plat approval, and then we actually have to go walk the site with the city and be like, hey, are y'all good with all the streets and the drains? And then we come up with a punch list, provide it to the contractor, go through the punch list, and then at that point, the city's like, hey, we're good with the infrastructure, and y'all can start building.
Okay.
And then that's when the plat gets recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like our golden ticket here, is that we get to hold on to that until the city's happy with everything that we've seen.
Yeah, you can't really sell lots until you get it recorded.
Okay.
So that's, yeah.
Okay. I think those are it for my questions, gentlemen.
I have no questions on this one, no.
Okay. Well, I will entertain a motion for agenda item 5, Charlie, discussion and possible action on Flat Creek Unit 1 final plats. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept it as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Agenda item passed.
Yes. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. We're good.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to discussion item number 5, Delta, discussion and possible action on Flat Creek Unit 2 final plat.
Okay, so this is going to be a lot of the same stuff. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Okay, so the acreage for this is approximately 30.457, and this is also going to be single-family dwelling, and it is also a final plat. The location hasn't changed. The zoning hasn't changed. So this plat is pretty extensive. There's 4 pages, so they really put a lot in here. And which plat? See, I think I'm looking at it one. Which one is the one that connects to Alsatian Oaks? Was it Unit 1? Oh, sorry. Well, I missed this. I couldn't see it on my computer. But one thing I wanted to point out is that, so per the city's request, a lot of these subdivisions, we see it a lot off of Petranco, where they're one entrance in, but they have no connection to any other subdivisions. And that's it. I mean, we've talked to the ESD, we've talked to the schools, we've talked to TxDOT. It's just not working out. That's why you see what's happening over off of Petranco. So one thing that we did ask of all the developers, and reluctantly a little bit, they haven't loved it, but that they have to connect to each other. And so even if that just is like 3 connection points along the entirety of the 2 subdivisions, we needed them to have some connection because we didn't want it to be a Petranco situation. We needed people that if they want to go from one subdivision to the next, they don't have to dump on the Highway 90 to do so. And so, sorry, I didn't see it in Unit 1, so I wanted to point it out, was that there is a connection. So whenever Alsatian Oaks builds out there, I would think it's their Unit 9 right there, so that they have to meet. So, which is a good thing, because you really don't want these subdivisions that just go in and there's just one way out.
So there's a connection point from Unit 1 to Alsatian Oaks.
That's
and there'll
correct.
be just one connection point?
It's
or
just
is
one
it-
connection along that first unit, along their first unit. And like I said, I think it's Alsatian Oaks 9th unit.
There's a big arterial roadway.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
it's at the very beginning. We'll go through this, and if we want to see it more, and there's also going to be the big arterial, what they're calling the thoroughfare.
Okay.
The one that when y'all saw in Dura the other day, that development agreement. Remember how we're like, oh, their road is going straight up, but then it connects to the thoroughfare. So there's the starting point, and then it goes up Flat Creek, up Alsatian Oaks, and hopefully in the future all the way over to 471. And so it will skip that light that's right there at Bill Miller. So people who need to just take
I
a
see what
right,
you're saying.
yeah,
Okay.
they don't have to go through there.
And that road goes north of this property.
It
It
goes
doesn't
through
touch
it.
it.
Yeah, in this plat here, on one of the sheets, I think you can hand to it. This sheet right here, that rectangle that's at the top right there, is the reservation for that big
Okay.
arterial roadway. So we block out a 120-foot reservation for that roadway to be built through there.
Okay.
So
And then for Unit 1 and Unit 2, is there a reason why we're dividing it up between Unit 1 and Unit 2, or why you all are? I'm just
So Unit 1 has 50-foot lots, and so they'll have 40-foot wide homes on it. This one, maybe I think it's 60 foot in there, and this one's 50 foot. So it's just different sized lots for different
Okay.
products, essentially.
Okay.
Mhm.
And there's still, and my assumption is there's connector points between.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
there's a big
okay.
collector road between the two.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a curious question: will you be doing both phases at the same time, or will you?
The construction,
Yes.
yeah, it's already honestly all been built already.
Okay.
So it's all out there. And so the collector roadway that we talked about first has been built, and then Unit 1 and Unit 2 has all been built out there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and then so we'll go just like we did the first one, the open space requirements. So per the PUD plan, 6.62 acres were required for the second unit. They're coming in at 5.938 acres. So like I said, it's a little bit less, but they'll have to compensate for that. Which they already kind of did in the first unit, but they'll have to compensate if there's any additional acreage that's needed as they go through the development. And then the water rights letter, like I said, when we saw it the first time, this encompassed both of those units, so nothing's changed with that. They did provide that. Financial guarantees, if anything were to happen as they were building and they weren't able to finish, we're allowed to pull that bond and we're allowed to go do what we need to do to make sure it gets built the way we want it to. Maintenance agreement bond, same thing we just spoke about. Like I said, it's a little redundant. Community association legal documents, this is all for the same subdivision, so they don't change. So the general information for this is it's approximately 30 acres. There's 73 lots. The setbacks are the same as the first unit. So regardless of lot size, the setbacks stay the same throughout the entire community. There's no variances requested. Is it in accordance with the development agreement and the PUD? And the city engineer has reviewed this and approved the final plat and plans. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's a mouthful. I'm trying to go through it because
No,
I'm
no,
going to
no,
bore y'all.
No, you're fine. I don't know if I have any questions at this time. Gentlemen, do you all have?
I do not have any questions.
Yeah, no, none for me. It's all pretty,
Yeah,
it's pretty redundant.
it's kind of mirroring each other, and I understand that. Is there a reason why it wasn't just under one agenda item and why it's broken up to two? It's because of how it's labeled, or
Per state law, you have to set. You can't just like
Okay.
mass approved plats. You have to go through each of them.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Doesn't that smell like burning something? Maybe it's the heater kicked on.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what other questions to ask at this time. I mean, obviously this has been reviewed for a couple of years
Yeah.
now, so there isn't, I don't know, many questions we would have that would change any of that. So, with that being said, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept the Black Creek Unit 2 as presented.
And I will second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye.
Yeah. Okay.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes for agenda item 5 Delta.
Great. And then at the end of this, I'm going to get you to sign
Thank
the
you.
board action. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lance.
I'll get you to sign the minutes and the board action because I do have to include it by tomorrow for city council.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. We will move on to the next agenda item, discussion on future agenda items.
Okay, and so I think I sent y'all all the calendar invite for the next meeting, which is the joint workshop with City Council, and that's February 11th, if I remember correctly. So y'all should have already gotten that in your inbox. I don't think that, because I don't know how long that's going to run, I don't think it's smart to put a planning and zoning with like substance, for things that only y'all are looking at, not City Council in there, because it may just run wild.
Confuse a lot of stuff.
It'll confuse a lot of stuff. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, unless I see an urgent where we need to have a meeting in February, that joint meeting will be our planning and zoning meeting for February. And then on the following meeting, we'll see the sign ordinance again and the temporary storage.
Okay.
And I think that's all I have on my docket for that one as of right now.
Okay.
But I sent y'all those slides, the ones that we went over for the sign ordinance. If y'all please go through those, if y'all see anything that y'all think needs changing, or that any complications that y'all see, or like there are videos online also. So if you want to go through there and like say, okay, why did we do this, or why should it be like that? But if you have any questions on it, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
So you said you want to push the sign stuff till,
We'll put it on the March
March.
planning and zoning meeting. I'm sorry, I don't have the date off the top of my head.
That's okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's all I have, unless y'all have anything else y'all would like me to be looking into or to provide to y'all.
y'all have any input?
No.
No, neither do I.
Okay.
I think we're okay.
Oh, well, we will have, I guess we would, do we want to move the elections for chairman and
Thank you.
secretary to March also?
We'll move that to March also. For the joint meeting, I don't think it's like super necessary. And so we'll move that to March also. Thank you. That's a good call.
Okay.
I would have already forgotten.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then now, if there's no other business, y'all can adjourn.
Okay. With that being said, we will close today's meeting at 7:10.
Right.
Wow, I went through that fast. Or do I just talk that fast?
Well, you know,
Well, it's kind of hard when